I jotted down, while he was talking, I jotted down a quick list of the things that people have said publicly about Donald Trump. He's a demonic force, said Tucker Carlson. He's America's Hitler, said J.D. Vance. He's a, quote, despicable human, said Mitch McConnell. January 6th was an act of, quote, domestic terrorism, said Ted Cruz. The people carrying out the enforcement of whatever Trump is saying are all hypocritical in that they've said worse things about Donald Trump than anyone in this program has ever said.
Yeah, we're watching Exhibit A for an unmitigated desire for power and influence and relevancy. That's who surrounds Donald Trump right now. People who literally can't get another job without kissing his rear end.
The serious part of these conspiracy theorists is that sometimes it leads to violence, which you've been dealing with all your life at the FBI, right?
Yeah, look, it's true, and never more true, perhaps, throughout history than conspiracy theories about Jews that still, not only still exist, but seem to be coming surging back. They're, throughout history, they've been responsible for all things bad. And it doesn't get much worse for that in terms of leading to violence. I still remember, I'm old enough to remember an FBI director named Chris Wray, who testified on the Hill that hate-based, race-based extremism is the most lethal, and much of that comes from conspiracy theories.
Yeah. And look, I know, we're in such a politically charged time, but you knew, like clockwork, Trump would blame Biden for what happened in Colorado, which he already has. And can we just say this guy's visa expired under Trump, so it's just, but here we go again with playing politics with something that's just so awful. I mean, Jewish people literally being lit on fire. Let's talk about what happened here. So he has been charged with a federal hate crime. He used an incendiary device to attack a group that had gathered to draw attention to Israeli hostages still held in Gaza. So Chris had a question earlier. Charged with a federal hate crime, but not terrorism. Do you know why that is, or what the difference is?
Yeah, I do. And don't be surprised if you later see a terrorism connection come in here. I think this is kind of low-hanging fruit with the hate crime. So a couple of things. One, the terrorism charge, if it ever happens, would be international terrorism. We do not have, and every time I get the chance, I get up on this soapbox, we still do not have a federal domestic terrorism charge. So a white guy militia group member from the backwoods drinks beer on weekends and shoots up tin cans. That guy, we don't have a law for domestic terrorism. If he had done this, it would be still a hate crime. International terrorism material support would be one of the charges, and we've got to find a link to some form of known terror group. The guy is from Egypt, and I'll tell you, I was on the air for, I think, 6 hours on Sunday covering this. And the moment that NBC News reported, and I think Tom Winter was the first to report it, that he was an Egyptian national, I said, to myself, okay, this is going to go political immediately. And that happened. Yep. Yeah. Christy Nome posted, nobody's surprised that this guy's first name is Mohammed. Right. And then I did start articulating on the air, hey, this could be an international terrorism thing, but we've got to have some kind of linkage to a designated group or a motive there. And the hate thing is easy. We may see the terror charge come later.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's hard not to talk about anything in the guise of politics now, because, of course, Trump uses everything as, a political tool, as a way to blame someone else, generally Biden. But, I just was saying, Frank, even in terms of law enforcement, how do you, in context, here's the guy that said they're very fine people in Charlottesville, people at his rallies with actual Nazi, swastikas, who, has literally invited Holocaust, what's his name? The Nazi Fuentes, is that
Fuentes.
To the White House for dinner, and then pretends to care about this when, I think it's this whole issue is so tragic to me. Just talk a little bit about the whole context of it.
This idea that a segment of our population, because of their religious and or cultural beliefs and backgrounds are feeling unsafe to walk our streets and gather and exercise their constitutional rights, which we should all be attuned to. This affects all of us, and free speech and freedom of assembly. And the increasing idea, the thing that I'm hearing from my Jewish friends is, can we go outside? I mean, we've had an on-the-street attack, not only in Boulder, but a couple of weeks before, we had one in Washington, D.C., outside the Jewish Museum. Mm-hmm. You can't get a more soft target than walking on the street. And so again, 6 hours on the air Sunday, one of the comments I made, which threw one of the anchors for a loop, was, hey, it's time to rethink public gathering. When you're scheduling a regular event every week at the same location, and we have these crazies out there, maybe you mix it up. Yeah. Maybe you cancel for a week and you come back with a different method. Maybe you get your message out on billboards. And what threw her for a loop was this concept. And then 2 or 3 law enforcement experts later saying the same thing. She was distressed that, wait a minute, these are our constitutional rights. Yeah. And are you suggesting we should not exercise them? It's not what I'm suggesting. What I'm suggesting is we've got to get smarter and make ourselves harder targets when we're out there trying to exercise our rights.
Well,
nobody likes to hear that,
again,
but that's where we are.
I hate to keep bringing up, but we have a president who incites hate and violence almost every day. And I think I have a weird thing that happened yesterday. I haven't even told you guys yet. This street I live on, we happen to have a lot of really well-known liberals on this particular street. And yesterday I started getting texts from all the neighbors that there was a guy in camo with a long rifle right here in the park. And there was a bunch of, police presence and everyone's like, stay in your house. Like, I don't know what. And I have no idea. But this is the kind of climate we live in. We're like, oh, what, is this targeted or is just some lunatic walking around with a long gun, in the park? And so I have no idea. But I think it's you're right. It's a climate of fear when you have to, for instance, like you say, be a Jewish person and go, should I go to the synagogue, right? In America in 2025.
And on the law enforcement side, synagogues have been hardened now for many years, as have Hebrew schools. But now I think where people are wringing their hands is, hey, what about softer targets? What about this or that, or summer camp or whatever? You mentioned the lunatics who operate alone. That's the nightmare for law enforcement. Yeah. You cannot get in front of that. It's really hard. Now people can say, well, he was here unlawfully. He came here, I think, in 2022. This Egyptian national in Boulder, from Colorado Springs, had lived in Kuwait, had lived in Egypt, applied for asylum, was granted a work visa, which had just expired in March of this year, and made him illegal. So people are going to say, again, turning this political, well, he was illegal. The answer is to get rid of everybody who's illegal. Well, okay, that's not that. Yes, fine, but that's not going to touch the hatred, the violence, the terrorism. It's not, that doesn't go away. And when, as you said, when it's incited by the guy in the Oval Office, that's a problem.
Well, I guess the sad irony is how much worse Trump has made the genocide in Gaza by letting Netanyahu do whatever he wants, and everything we screamed about during the campaign. That like, where's the Genocide Dawn protesters when except for getting a Trump Gaza resort, he could give a rat's ass about the Palestinians, and it's so tragic. Hey, are you traveling this summer? Will you leave instructions for your house sitter, the name and number of your vet, maybe the code to your alarm system? Think about the steps you take to prepare for vacation, and you'll get a sense of what goes into a knockbox. Just go to theknockbox.com. Use the code Stephanie. Knockbox is a complete system that helps you organize all of your accounts, possessions, and estate plans for your next of kin. Each knockbox, that's Knockbox, comes with a comprehensive checklist that helps ensure you add everything they'll need to manage your estate when you are gone. From your funeral directives to your insurance policies, even the keys to your storage unit, the Knockbox helps you organize it all. If you've got a household, you need a Knockbox. Right now, Stephanie Miller listeners save 16% off the Knockbox of your choice. Just go to theknockbox.com/Stephanie. That's theknockbox.com/Stephanie to get 16% off. Stay calm, get organized today.